Welcome to the African Career Podcast, and I'm your host, Paddington Nundu. We have had several conversations as of yet, talking about everything in between making a career choice and working towards that particular career choice. And today we are going to have an interesting conversation as well, building on what we have started in the past 4 or 5 episodes. We want to talk about curriculum development. We want to talk about why you pay the school fees for your child. How are they being taught in school? What are they being taught? Are they ready for the world of work? And are they going to succeed in the workplace? This is what we have in store for you today. Today, we have an interesting guest, Dr.Mercy Maina. She is a career development and curriculum expert with more than 2 decades, closing into 3 decades of working experience in this particular field. Dr. Maina, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Yes. So for most people, career development can be a huge term. But what does it mean in simple terms?
Career is a structured plan of study of what the learners need to be taught, how they are going to be, the content that is going to be delivered to them, the resources that are needed to support, and also the kind of assessments that are going to be used so that they can be able to move from one stage to another. Essentially, curriculum is a structured plan of what the learners need to learn, the content that needs to be delivered, the assessment strategies, and then the resources that are needed to support.
Why should families, or why should parents, anyone paying school fees, why should they be concerned with curriculum reforms or anything in that sector?
Because curriculum helps in terms of deciding what learners are going to be taught, and essentially what their children are going to be taught, so that they can be prepared for their future life, either from further education, for life, and even for the society, how they are going to contribute to the society. So it is important that the parents are involved, and because they are stakeholders in terms of what their children are going to be taught.
Which is interesting, because I'm sure most parents don't pay attention to that conversation as well. But let's look back to where Kenya has come from. We've had different education system, or the education system has changed several times. What has it been like, just in brief?
There are 3 stages through which this education system has changed, and so the curriculum has changed. At independence, we inherited the one from the missionary education system, and so post-independence, the system of education now had to be made to that response to the needs of the new state, the newly created state. And so the first system of education had 7 years in primary school, 4 years in secondary school, 2 years in A-level, and then 3 years in the tertiary, in post-secondary education. And so essentially its purpose was to be able to create a workforce that would be able to take up the jobs that were being left by the colonial officers. All right. So in addition to that, because that is the first one, then we have the second one of the 844 system that in 1985, that's when it was implemented. But it also responded after the period, the first system of education up to about around late 1970s, there was a high rate of unemployment. And so there was a report that was produced by McKay Commission of 1981 that responded to the need of an education that gives more practical skills, so that the students and the graduates do not over-rely on white-collar jobs and be able to create employment. Then we have now the latest one of the CBC or the CBE, curriculum-based education, so the competency. It's competency-based education system that now was implemented in 2017, and it also responded to the need of the 844 system. There was a lot of criticism about 844 system, that it is overloaded, the curriculum was overloaded, it was costly to the parents, and it's also very stressful to the learners. And so the reviews that the suggestions that we need to have a more practical, more not exam oriented system of education. And so that's why we have now the CBE or the CBC. The curriculum is the CBC, and then the system of education is CBE of the 2 years in pre-primary. Then we have the 6 years in primary school, 3 years in junior school, then 3 years in senior school, and then the 3 years in senior school, in post-secondary.
So from what you're saying, or maybe from your experience as well, was 844 heavy on the student?
It's the perception that has been created around them, and also the response, the feedback from the parents, because they're the ones now who observe how their children carry themselves within the school system. So the parents felt that it was costly, because of even the practical, some of the subjects that they're supposed to be doing requires a lot of resources. Then we also have the subjects were too many. And so there also, even from primary school, there used to be so many before the reviews several reviews that were done. So it was burdensome to the learners. So that is the feedback the parents have given. And so curriculum is not for itself. It also responds to the needs of the pupils. So one of the reasons is that it was very, very heavy in terms of stressful, costly, and also strenuous, and also focusing on more on exams, that so that if you don't get good grades, then it means you are a failure. Yes, so some of the feedback.
But were the parents not aware when they first of all agreed to do that?
The first, the 844 was implemented. I'm not sure whether, I think what the criticism has been, the implementation was not very smooth. And I don't think there was stakeholders engagement as it is right now, in terms of even that is it's a constitutional requirement that if any activity that is being taken, even whether it is in education system, whether it needs to go through public participation. I'm not sure whether that time there was a lot of public participation and where the parents were to give their own feedback. Essentially, feedback is given. You have to implement the system and then now get reviews from get feedback from different stakeholders.
So from what you were saying, 844 came in because it was giving in skills, practical skills. But then it was heavy in terms of exams, which was its focus, and the number of subjects.
No. The implementation is what became a problem.
Okay.
The technical subjects that were introduced are very fantastic, and they have opportunity to create that creativity and be able to for self-reliance. Actually the philosophy of 844 was education for self-reliance, practical skills and self-reliance. So, but the schools, the implementation at the school level, there were no workshops. If you are going to have woodwork, there are no workshops and there are no teachers for this. So then it became now difficult to implement and to instill the practical skills. So resorted, the subject needs to be taught. So we still have the exam. You offer theory and know with practical skills.
Okay. Where I'm trying to drive to then was, so what's the biggest difference between 844 and CBE, the competency-based education? I think it is a delivery. Usually it is the method of delivery, because what math has not changed. English has not changed. It is how the teachers now deliver the content, so that it has more, it is learner-centered, so that the learners do and the teacher becomes the guide alongside the pupil. So they are more involved in terms of content develop, in terms of the learning the skills without the teachers telling, and then giving them, facilitating them, and then they're able to do the work themselves. Okay, so then we rely more on the learners taking the first step in terms of learning.
Yes.
All right. So talking more about CBC, competency-based curriculum, or competency-based education. So have parents now seen the difference? What has been their reaction in terms of CBE now?
I think because of the change is always it's difficult to people to accept, and especially because of comparison. You'll continue comparing with it for 4 and the current now the CBE. There already has an outcry that the subjects are many. And remember, it for 4 so was also said that the content was overburdened, had many subjects. Even now, they were through the public when the current president was inaugurated. So there was that presidential working party on reforms on education, and it's one of the things that the parents said that the content is too heavy and the subjects have been reviewed. So we wait until the full cycle that is done up to the senior school, so that now we can review. So because the curriculum, you cannot change mid-term, you have to wait the whole the full length of the curriculum cycle, and then after that now do reviews and then do the changes.
So as a parent, how best, in the simplest form, understand the word competency? The
competence is the ability to do something effectively, and it's not assessment through the exams. It's how do you do your work? How do you demonstrate ability? So the ability to demonstrate that I have been taught math, and I can be able to apply this math in a different setting, not just cramming because for an exam, because I can apply math in a different setting. And when I see math being used in measurements, then I appreciate that math is not just for counting money. It's not just for passing exams. It's not just arithmetic for numeracy skills. No, it is how do I apply those numeracy skills into the world of work.
So besides then checking that with exams, what then do we use to measure that competence before someone finishes their high school or their primary education?
Okay, there are methods now. There are different methods that are going to be that are being used currently. So we have the formative assessments. There will be the practical skills. There will be the assessment of the ability for different skills, the portfolio things where the students are able to document whatever they are learning and putting it into a file, and then they can be able to defend. This is what I'm good at this, and because I can demonstrate this 1, 2, 3. So that's the issue of even encouraging the learners to document every activity they do, and it becomes a basis for them to say, I am competent in this because, and this is the evidence. I've been able to do 1, 2, 3, and this is the evidence of what I have been able to do.
But I will still have the same question that we talked about briefly before. You mentioned it, that it is now the delivery. But then the question is, are our teachers prepared to then deliver this particular CBE?
Yes, there are a lot of efforts. We can't say that there is nothing that has been done. There's a lot of sensitization. There are already a lot of TSC, who is responsible for teacher management and for how their teachers deliver the content in the school. They have a lot of efforts in making those the teachers being equipped with the skills on how to deliver CBE. Yes.
So I saw it this side that there's junior secondary, or junior school. Being in junior secondary in primary schools.
Yes.
How do we understand this? What's really happening?
Okay, the junior school was also an area of that were gray areas, and especially because they were not. It was not sure whether the junior school learners were going to go to secondary schools. There was that gray area, but through the presidential working party on education reforms, it was resolved because there was the public participation, and the parents said they prefer their children staying in primary schools to be domiciled in the primary schools because they're still young. They'll be about 12 years and 14 years. So, and then they're going to be more familiar with the teachers who've been teaching them. So the environment was going to be more conducive for them in primary school than in secondary school. And so hence the decision that it should be domiciled in in primary schools.
But what's the theoretical ideation around it? What was the purpose, or what was the maybe agreed, or what was the agreed goal to say, if we have junior secondary, these are the benefits of it?
I don't think that was ever thought through. For my own opinion, it had not been thought through. There was a lot of effort before now the grade 6 finished, completed the assessment. There was that still element that that final year, there were classrooms that were being, the CBE classes that were being done in secondary schools. And then not all the schools were going to be able to have all the pupils go now to secondary school. I think that was an issue. And so that was the one of the first tasks that the President Ruto was appointed, is one of the areas that he needed to resolve, because it was a gray area. And so the parents, through now the public participations, different stakeholders, I attended one of those public participation forums, and either the pupils in secondary schools also contributed and said, we'd prefer that the junior school, the grade 6 students going to junior school, they will be more comfortable in a primary school than in high school.
If CBC succeeds, what kind of graduate are we looking at?
We are going to look at a person who is one of the mission. I think it's ethical citizens. There will be the elements that are practical. They have the 21st century skills of creativity, of entrepreneurial, financial literacy, and all that. So we are hoping that it'll be more, they're going to be more practical, and then be able to adopt even if and flexible even in terms of problem solving, and in terms of navigating the world of work.
Right, cool. So now moving on to curriculum and jobs. What is the correlation to what we have been having as a curriculum to the workers that Kenya has been producing as it stands so far?
Okay. If the curriculum emphasizing on exams, then it means the graduates that are going to be produced are all those ones that are focused on passing exams. So we'll have graduates that lack creativity, who lack problem solving, who lack adaptability, and also who lack resilience. If the curriculum emphasizes on practical, technical, and digital skills, then again, it becomes that the graduates are going to be more entrepreneurial, they're going to be more innovative, and they're going to be job ready, because the job market wants somebody who can solve problems, who is creative, and who have an entrepreneurial mindset. And so, another one again, that if another education system, if the curriculum focuses on values and competencies, then it is going to nurture ethical, responsible, and collaborative persons. And so again, this thrives in modern workplaces.
In the previous episodes we have done with the HR managers, both in country and with regional roles, they've always highlighted that graduates are not job ready. What part of the curriculum contributes to this gap, or that actually has to cover this gap?
The CBE education. Yes. One, it is anchored again on the 21st century skills. It has one of the principles of 21st century skills of creativity, adaptability, lifelong learning, and these are some of the things that are needed for the job market. So this already within the curriculum, there's the 21st century skills anchored on it, and so we'll be able to prepare the work and be able to develop competencies that are needed for the world of work.
So actually in the previous episode, we're talking to an HR manager who was raising concern in terms of there is no relationship that is solid between academia and the industry. Maybe the ideal situation would be the industry says to the academia, this is what is happening at the moment in the industry. We are looking for people with skills 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we foresee that the industry is going to move in this path in the next 20 or 30 years. From your understanding so far, do we have that relationship in Kenya between academia and industry?
I think there is now deliberate and intentional in terms of institutions linking or reaching out to the industry, both of them, because we need each other. It does not work. It's not the industry that requires the graduates, and it's not the schools that also needs to produce graduates. Either the two of them need to speak to one another, and I think there are some efforts that are being done, and that's why you have some in TVET education, TVET institutions through the partners, the development partners like the GIZ. So they're implementing dual training. The dual training, it's already we have the students learning in the classroom for 30%, and then another one now, the 70% is done in the industry. So there's already that collaboration with the industry. Some efforts are being done and intentionally being done in some sectors, and especially manufacturing. The manufacturing, there's that effort that is being done.
It's the same that is understood in other countries as apprenticeship, is it?
No, apprenticeship is a gap. If I've trained as a carpenter, and I'm not very sure I have acquired the right skill. I mean, I have sharpened, the skills are sharpened, are very strong in terms of delivery, in terms of being able to do the work. So I can go as a graduate in apprenticeship, so that I'm attached to you, to Paddington, because you are a skilled craftsman in carpentry. And in my training, I missed some areas that because my institution did not have this kind of technology. And so I am attached to your industry so that I can learn that kind of the skill, to sharpen that skill. Okay. Either to acquire a new skill or to sharpen the skill. Then we have the other, the informal apprenticeship. I've not gone to school, and I don't want to go to a training institution. I want to be taught by Paddington in his workshop, so that they have those two types of apprenticeship. That I'm fresh from school, and I don't want to go for skills training, but I can be taught informally. And then through that informal training, that Paddington, we enter into a learning contract. You'll be able to, this is what you're going to be teaching me. This is the time I will need to be coming to your workshop. And it is, so there should be also some form of agreement. And then once I have learned from you, I can then look for assessment. They will have the NITA the National Industrial Training Authority, then can be able to certify you. You book an exam, and then they're able to assess you and give you certification.
Looking into East Africa for now, what do you think Kenya has been doing better than all the other guys in terms of producing very good workers?
I think Kenyans, we are very, very highly educated. We're also resilient, and we're also very enterprising. But what we do not have is that, what I think the industry says that we are not job ready, but we have the good certificates, we have good papers, but what we lack are the soft skills. We focus over concentrate on certificates, and then we experience some of the skills mismatch because of the training, the machinery that is being taught in the training institution. There's a gap with what you find in the modern technologies in the workplace, but we still use old technology in the training institution. That now creates some skills mismatch.
Okay. Now, in closing, if you are advising parents today, what role can they play in supporting their children under CBC?
One of the ways that they can to nurture curiosity. When children are curious, it's where they innovate. So we should be able to encourage, allow curiosity, encourage problem solving, and also support and provide a lot of support to the children, whatever area that they think they enjoy, and then we should be able to provide support. Essentially, the parent is to provide the support, because in nurturing, the training is going to be done by other people.
All right. One of the critical things that we look for every time is how can families, schools, and employers work together so that learning will translate into jobs.
Okay.
In that case, what's your message to these three stakeholders, the parents, the teachers, and the learners?
And the employers.
Yes, and the employers.
And the employers, yes, yeah. I think it's a shared responsibility because the families or the parents, their work is to nurture their children and create that environment where they can learn. If whatever resources that are needed for them to support them, that is one of their responsibility, to nurture and support and create a supportive environment for them to be able to learn. In terms of the schools, it's to deliver the skills, the training, the content that is being taught in the school. And then the employers is to provide mentorship, attachment, apprenticeships, even those are especially the graduate apprenticeships, and those also exposure to the real world in terms of workplace, job shadowing and workplace exposure.
If you had one message to give parents and students about the future of education in Kenya, what would it be?
They should not focus on passing exams. We are moving away from exams. We are moving to competencies. And so the skills that are needed for the job market now are the creativity, collaboration, communication, financial literacy, cultural awareness, and all those. Those are the skills that are needed. And they're the ones that are going to keep them learning and be able to thrive in the future.
Dr. Maina, thank you very much for coming into the room today to take us through the different areas that we should know as parents or guardians around curriculum development.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. This has been the African Career Podcast. I think one key thing that we have taken from this session is that whenever you see a conversation is happening or government is asking you to come through to contribute to issues about curriculum development, you should be in the room. It is for your sake, for your child's sake, and for the benefit of the country. Thank you, and see you in the next episode.